Welcome to Warehouse 15, where gold medals hang beside hard troops with aurora. The crowd fades and the real stories begin. Join Perez, Moreno, and Jennings, three legends who aren't afraid to push past the finish line. A polite conversation, get ready. Feelings will get hurt, but the truth will be told.
Welcome to the Warehouse 15 again, and I am Herb Perez, or as I like to call myself, Disaster. So Grandmaster Disaster here, along with my two good friends and Olympic cohorts, and we've been through a lot in different stages of our life. How you doing, Coach Moreno?
I'm good today. I'm happy today. I'm actually heading out tomorrow on a quick little trip out to Seattle to see a play that one of my children is starring in. So I'm excited about that. That's pretty cool. And just get ready for the it's actually Footloose.
Hey, oh, nice.
Yeah. So
nice.
That's a
musical, and then we're also joined by the amazing, the incomparable, the reprehensible, and today dressed like I'm not sure exactly what, Coach TJ. How you doing, sir? Stop.
Good. How are you? How are you?
How are you? Shoulder surgery. I got to get shoulder surgery. Don't be showing off, man. How you doing, sir? Tell us.
I'm good, chilling. Just had a we actually went to a tournament last weekend, a nice little local tournament. The warm up, Master Bernard Prosy had a tournament. It was a pretty nice event. I like to see the level that we had that local tournament, but it was clean cut, ran well. So I had a couple of my guys out there competing. So always Taekwondo in some way, shape, or form. But and yourself, sir?
He was a great athlete. Well, I'm doing okay. You know, today I'm wearing my new mala beads because I'm trying to I have a good friend who is helping me with my journey to become a better person, which is why I started the martial arts, and I got sidelined by the competition aspect of it, where I had to be kind of, who I had to be to win. And I didn't have the Jimmy Kim kind of skills to be both a Buddhist practitioner and a kick-ass kind of guy. So I went the other route and decided, well, I'll just kind of beat on people. And I don't know why. That was 1992. I stopped competing. So I don't know why it took me this long, but every day, little by little.
It's been a while.
It's been a minute, but I'm getting better, and I got a phone call from a good friend of mine. Somebody was lamenting, people reach out to me from time to time, and they ask me for help with their certificates because, I'm fortunate enough to have achieved a certain level at the Kukiwan, and so I can help people that get stuck. And so I helped this individual, and then I got a phone call from somebody telling me that the same individual was complaining about me because I'm complaining about the Kukiwan, but she was not shy in asking me to process her certificates. And I don't want to mention her name. She's from Northern California, former student of Jay Warwick, but that doesn't surprise me, knowing that she's a student of Jay, because people always forget who helped them and who got them to where they need to be. But I'm glad that I could process her certificates for her students, one of which was a former friend of ours, Diana G, and her sister's kid, who was a famous table tennis player and resident at the Olympic Training Center. But since hopefully you're listening and let me help you with it, you're welcome. You're welcome. You don't have to like what I say. And in fact, that's the whole point. This is the Warehouse 15, and I'm not going to shy away.
Hey, can you hook me up with a 10th done? Can you hook me up?
I think I can. The 10th, you just have to die. So if you need help with that, let me know.
Oh no,
I think you sure? I can help you with that.
No,
I'm gonna stay where I am. I'm good.
I think you better stay where you are till you get some sleeves on that shirt. But let's get started today. And again, this is the full contingent of Olympic medals, silver, bronze, and gold. Won't mention who's. All right, Mr. Moreno, what do we got?
This fucking guy, bro.
We're gonna start. I'm starting. I've been working on my Zen all day. I've been working on my Zen, and I've failed
you come out with that one zinger.
Dude,
we made the biggest mistake. We made the biggest mistake asking him how he was doing.
You shouldn't ask.
That was the worst question ever.
I'm going to tell you. Yeah, but like most times, people don't understand this. When somebody says to you, "Hi, how you doing?" They don't really want an answer. That's like a greeting.
That's true.
You don't literally want to answer. But unfortunately, if you ask somebody, say, "You open the door." You open the door. All right, ask me again. Let's try again. Ask me again. Ask me how I'm doing.
Hey, how you doing, young?
Amazing day. Nice to see you all. Let's go. Did I mention that thing? Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, but it's true though. It's funny that movie. I mean, real fast. That movie, Fight Club. Remember that guy talked about like sample size servings on the plane, and you small talk with everybody. And I feel like that's how the world has gotten. Especially, I know we keep talking about our sport. It's that sample size. How you doing? Good luck. All right, great to see you. blah blah blah. And I know it's cordial, I know it's polite, but it's also, call it what it is. It's also fake. It's unendearing, and people really don't care. They're like, "Oh, hey, how you doing? You're doing good luck today." In the back of their mind, like, "I hope you break your ankle on the way to the holding area." I mean, right? I mean, that's what they're thinking. That's what 99% are thinking. So
Keep it.
anyway, I
You
thought we
gotta
should talk
keep
a
it
little bit.
real.
Yeah, keep it real. No, I was thinking, we have two big tournaments coming up, really close to home. We have the Canadian Open next week, and we have the U.S. Open the week after that. The Canada Open up is first. It's in Montreal, starting next weekend, and then we have the U.S. Open in the famous, ever so popular, ever so glamorous Reno, Nevada.
But with the Canadian Open, can I ask a question before you get started? Do you have to score 20% less points since it's in Canada, just like the money? All right, so
Good idea.
we just lost all our Canadian
Actually, they
viewers.
put on a pretty. Yeah, I'm gonna take up for the wifey here. Actually, they put on a good tournament in Canada. It's not bad. It's always in a nice venue. This time it's in Montreal. I think I've been in this venue before. It's usually pretty big. I think last year we went. Korea bought out some guys. I think like their B or C team was there, plus a couple of their big guys that were still qualifying for the Olympic Games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's always a bit showing in Canada.
No, hey, let me say this about the Canada Open. I mean, last year was in Vancouver. This year it's in Montreal. They run a clean tournament. They run a on time tournament. And actually, I was looking at the numbers. I mean, I'm not perfect, but the numbers are pretty high in the sense of overall participation. Like, I'm talking cadets, juniors, seniors. Compared to the U.S. Open, which is historically normally pretty big. So it's interesting that. I don't know how deep the divisions are with quality athletes or anything like that. I haven't given it that much. I will be going. Actually this year I'm taking a bunch of cadets and juniors, so it's the first time in years that I've done that. And for some of my new young kids, I think it's going to be an awesome first step to get their feet wet. But I'm excited also about some of the the senior athletes that are going to be competing there as well, because it kind of kicks off this new point cycle. I mean, I know it started last year in June, but for the most part, this is the first year, 2025, of this, of this new generation of 2 years with the point cycles. And, having these two tournaments right here in North America, I think is interesting. It's huge. And it's interesting because not a lot of the big American players are going to both, which I was a little bit surprised. I mean, historically, the U.S. national team, the group at their academy, they haven't been to Canada. I'm not sure why, when they could kind of get 2 for 1. Build up some points pretty quickly.
And these points this year around are the people at the end of 2025 that have the top 32 points are the ones that qualify for the following Grand Prix, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah.
So
and it's still 40 per year, just all that stuff. I know you're usually pretty in detail about all that stuff. It's 40 per year.
Yeah, but there's a bunch of other ones that you can get extra in, like for the Grand Prix Challenge is extra. Yeah. Of course, the President's Cup is extra. I mean, I think there might be even a couple other events that are 2 events that could be extra. It's a little difficult. With this new cycle, I think you're gonna find some different strategies. Actually, I mean, I just had a strategy planning Zoom call yesterday with our group, and quite honestly, we're picking out bigger, more difficult events and training camps. Just kind of trying to make sure we have good work in versus quantity of little points and stuff like that. So I'm not saying it's going to be perfect, but that's what we feel like our guys need. They need like high level events, obviously like the Grand Prix challenges, and go to very difficult training camps, enough time away from competitions where they can actually train hard instead of saying, oh, you know what, I got a competition, I got to hold back. Or right after, I just finished a competition, let me just kind of let my guard down. Like, we want to make sure that they're working pretty
doesn't that
pretty focused.
Doesn't that schedule?
So, I don't know if it's the right.
Doesn't that
right
schedule
model? But that's what we're going with.
It's a pretty arduous schedule. It's a pretty complex schedule, and 2 things. One, does it fly in the face of athletic performance? Because to peak and to be the best you can, you need a certain amount of run-up time, build-up time. Otherwise, you get mediocre performances over the period of the year. And the second question becomes, I know in the past I've seen this, you've had less than the most qualified athlete qualify because they were smart about the strategic component of gathering points and at which event they could go to where they have a better chance of getting points, even if it wasn't as prestigious of an event, and at which event they could go where the top players were. So, and then that is going to lead us into a question I hope we get to today, which is, what's the purpose of the Olympic Games, and what should the purpose of the lead up to that event be? What, to yield the best athlete, or to yield the best, smartest strategic coach who's going to get his athletes there by gaming the point system, right? So.
I mean, real fast on that, like it's, and TJ, you know this because you've been in that point chase before, with Paige McPherson and stuff like that. Sometimes it is just about getting the points. It's not about going to the best tournaments and really challenging yourself. It's just making sure you maximize your points. And I've planned that out for people. But like I said, I think this new cycle of 2 years and 2 years gives you a little bit more leeway, to go get some experience and to invest in some young people, or to just take off, quite honestly. Like, for example, some of our athletes they're definitely on their last cycle. So I'm not going to come say hi, Camila.
Who is that beautiful young lady? How are you?
My girl.
I like that shirt. Where's the World Taekwondo Academy? Where is that? Where is the World Taekwondo Academy? Nice.
That's Minnesota.
Well, he's luckier than me. He got to meet her in person.
That's her godfather.
I just have to see her on the internet. And do you know that your dad is the most successful, smartest, brightest, most handsome Taekwondo player in the history of mankind? And hopefully he is guarding your eyes from the screen to my right over here with the guy with no shirt on. It looks like he's selling car washes in Miami. So, oh, nice.
Ask her what her first words were. Ask her what her first words were. Tell him.
Story.
Okay, she was like, "Who?
No, definitely not her Perez. Definitely not. I'm the. She loves me. I'm loved.
No, the funny thing is, when she first, at the beginning, she would always cry with Uncle Oi, her godfather, cry with TJ. And then her first words were, we have the video and everything. She's sitting with us now. So she looks at me and she's like, TJ.
No, she was saying PJ. What? Peanut butter and jelly.
I got you.
Peanut butter and jelly.
It's me and you, the Olympic Games.
It's so nice to see you.
Peanut butter and jelly.
Go train. Good to see you, sweetheart.
All right, she has to go. Bye. She has to go train. Give me my earpiece.
Okay, we can go back to the uncensored version now. Go ahead, uncensored.
Where were we? Oh, yeah. No. What I was saying was, like, honestly, with some older athletes, like, taking off the burden of going to so many events. So, like what you were talking about, Young, is to kind of get back to really, no pun intended, peaking, or periodizing for one event versus I got this one and then this one and this one and this one. And unfortunately, that's the way our system works right now. But we're trying to see if we can break that mold a little bit with some athletes. And it's going to be, this is kind of a trial and error 2 years, to be honest with you, because we've never had this cycle. So it's going to be weird. I don't know what you think, like, about that, TJ. What challenges that, I think kind of sets us up.
I think you can look at it both ways. I think you can go, okay, we're going to go towards a development route and see what comes out in 2 years, and then pick a strong team for the next 2 years moving forward. But like you said, I think the issue will always be having to go to certain events as opposed to being able to pick the events. Offsetting with training camps makes perfect sense. But I think, again, that the mindset used to be going to tournaments where you knew the big names were going to be. And I think that's something we all can. That was always my struggle as far as being on the U.S. national team back then, was I feel like we didn't get enough shots at like these big guys early. So we'd show up at the Grand Prix and fight them, as opposed to, I think, the European circuit and these guys see each other a little bit more often. So I think that's almost the right approach. Let's go get in front of the big guys in the division. So come the Olympic Games, come those moments where we have to qualify, have to win a match, we don't feel so uncomfortable. We don't feel so thrown off by those moments. So it's definitely a different. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I mean, honestly, exactly what you're saying. This guy told me, I don't know, 40 years ago, like, you don't go to Korea to beat Korea, you go to Korea to experience them, to see what they're doing, so that the next time you get in front of them, you don't freak out. And that was in our day. Okay, they were the big guns. Now it's China, Uzbekistan, Iran, whoever it is. You got to see those guys, and you got to be in the same room with them. So, for a Rocky thing, like, it's just a man, it's just a woman. They put on their pants just like me. They bleed just like me. So I know that sounds kind of cliche, but it's the truth. I mean, some of these guys, they talk the game, but they get in front of those big countries or those big names, and they're just like, I mean, they're frozen. I mean, they're deer in headlights. So
Well,
I
that,
think the
that
more
begs the
you can get in
question, right?
front of
Because
them,
I
you
can
can kind of take
remember,
off that
and
edge,
again, this is
and hopefully you can
dinosaur
have a better
sort of
performance
stuff,
and
but
and,
when
and move up
we were
the ladder.
competing, there's always the big guy in the room. At that point, it was Korea for us, and maybe a handful of others, Mexico, maybe Spain, Iran for sure. Was it beneficial for them to fight us, or was it more beneficial for us to fight them? And so, as a number one guy, I'm thinking, yeah, the less I have to see the number two or number three, the only thing I'm doing is raising his level. I might be raising mine, depending how I look at it. But the matrix for me has always been, if you're a number one guy, and I said this to my son recently because we've been to a bunch of these ID camps, and we may end up in your backyard. Hopefully, we're going out there next week for a final kind of visit. Once you're seen, you're known. When you're an unknown, you don't have to worry. Once you're seen, people know you. So you mean they see everybody now?
I think
Mm,
social media ruined all that stuff,
yeah.
though. They see everyone constantly. I mean, like, you kind of, I think that's the biggest thing. I mean,
We have
everybody
we
sees
have the
people
best
training, people
dancers.
post it when they get
Oh,
injured.
oh
their
yeah, no
recovery
TikTok. I
That's
watched
statuses.
the
crazy.
They
TikTok
go
of the
through
U.S.
this,
team.
and
Yeah,
they got a cast
they are
on. They
definitely
got,
the most
the torn
fashionable
ACL, all
dancers,
that
best
stuff like that.
dancers.
That's
They're the
public
hip hop
information at
wick
this
walk
point.
of taekwondo. They don't win any medals, but man, and where are they in North Carolina? They must have some TikTok media classes, and they must have some dance and hip hop classes because that's all I see of their media. What? What? Oh,
But you,
is the assassin in?
but you know what,
What happened?
TJ, you bring up a good idea, a good thing. But and again, I don't have everybody in the world.
Mm. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, no, like I don't follow every top athlete in the world, but I feel like the best of the best aren't necessarily putting out that much stuff. Maybe once in a while when they're competitions or a little bit, but not so much. Not so much, right? There's just a
Yeah.
handful of people doing that.
Yeah.
So
It's
I don't know.
hard
I mean,
to, again, it's that whole freedom of speech / it's do what you want era. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's a guidance thing. I just never had that as an issue. I never really wanted people to know what I was doing. I never wanted them to know if I was having a great day or a bad day,
It's
a
a
strong day.
combination
But
of
now it's just
keep them
dancing,
like,
guessing.
hip hop, and
yeah, it's for the
taekwondo.
clout.
It's
It's for
hip hop,
the,
and
I
it's
can't
shirt
see it. It's for
off,
the clout. It's for
furriness.
the followers,
I mean, I
the
hate to
fame,
pick
and
on
all
the
this other stuff.
individual. I
So,
don't
I
want to
mean, I
mention
think
their
I'll tell
name,
you. I mean,
but I mean, the name is pretty prevalent.
I just think that. I mean, I'll tell you one thing. I mean, I know we're getting off track here, but like I don't look. You want to put your trainings. You want to put your wins. You want to. But when you start putting your injuries up and your uh, man, I guess maybe it's a younger generations. People
yeah.
expressing their how when they're in bad moods or bad states, when things are like I don't know. I just feel like you're. I don't know. Maybe they feel like they're letting the world see them as real people, but at the same time, I think in this kind of sport, you're also showing your vulnerabilities. I don't know. It's not my
Yeah, I
style. I don't
wanted
know
you
if
to
that's
think
good or
I was
bad.
a
Yeah.
superhero. I wanted you to think I was invincible. I didn't want you to see when I was up or down, left or right. You had to figure it out once you got in the ring. I know that's, again, we talk
Yeah.
about dinosaur stuff in different situations, but I think that's a mentality thing. That's a coachable thing too. I mean, I would assume that if I got too far outside the box, someone would be like, "Hey, let's not post that. Hey, let's not say that. Hey, let's not do that." I
Of
mean,
course not.
and depending on the
Of course not.
situation and before the events, but I think social media has gone crazy, and especially in the self-promotion and wanting to be, bigger than our sport. And I get that, and I can understand all that. And a lot of other, sports get the following and get the media, and a lot of the athletes
You
that do
want to get
taekwondo are forced
noticed,
to kind
and
of maybe
you want
do
to
it
be
more
big.
from an
You know how you get
individual
noticed
level.
and be
But
big?
I think there's a
Win.
time and place for everything,
Win, and
and
then you
certain
can do all the
information that
TikToking
you and your
want.
team
Don't
should know,
win,
and
don't do
nobody
any
else.
TikToks because there's nothing to
All
say.
right. Well, let's
I
just.
don't want to hear the journey of a loser. I don't want to hear the journey of the challenge. I want to hear the journey of the champion. I watch
That's
Michael Jordan's videos. I watch Tom Brady's videos. I just watched Little Steven from the E Street Band and Bruce Springsteen's documentary. Those are the ones I watch. I don't watch the sorry stories about the people that didn't win and, danced towards fame and stardom. I don't watch those. I don't watch the car crashes. I don't watch the 600-pound stories on TMC, and I don't watch The Biggest Loser. My wife used to watch. I'm like, I have no interest in why you're fat, to be honest. So I'll get canceled for that, but I'll be okay. All right. Anyway, moving on. You can tell what kind of mood I'm in today.
Yeah. So no, it's good. I like it. TJ, so what do you think? I mean, anybody specifically? I mean, I don't know if you know who's going like to the Canada or U.S. Open that you want to watch. I think
I
Spain
really,
is going to Canada. They got a good, decent group, and I think Uzbekistan is coming with some decent players to U.S. Open. So
that would be kind of cool. Yeah, I'm not sure who's on the registration list. I know I was reading a post on Facebook earlier. I know that those numbers often change, and we have people have the ability to show up and register for things and then not come. And the final bracket is always a mystery until you either see them there and not. I just hope the level is good. I mean, like you just said previously, I think for Canada and U.S. Open should be. Hopefully the level is high, so you get some of that development. You get to see those matches, you get to feel those matches that you're out there looking for, as opposed to it being a glorified Canada Nationals or USA Nationals. So
I mean, I'm not responsible, obviously, or I don't. Somehow, though, I think we need to, in this region of the world, we have to attract some of these top level athletes. I think we're going to have a pretty decent numbers, across the board. I mean, average, but it would be nice to have, like last time they had Korea was there. I thought that was really good. Brazil came, that was really good. But somehow we have to really get out there and make sure we get some of these other countries. I mean, I guess there's two ways to look at it, because I spoke to somebody in Canada last year, and they said they were disappointed that all these top Koreans were there, because they're taking 20 points from some Canadians or some Americans. So I get that, but at the same time, which you mentioned it earlier, Young, about what is the ultimate goal. And the ultimate goal should be to get to the Olympics. The ultimate goal of the Olympics is to win the Olympics. The ultimate goal is not to win a silver or bronze, silver. It's the goal. That's literally the ultimate goal. Now, I know that varies by country to country, athlete to athlete. I mean, some people are just happy to get there. Some people are lucky to get there. Some people get put there. So I know that gets a little muddy, but I think that it would be nice if these two tournaments over here could get a strong Mexican team, a strong Brazilian team, a strong U.S. team, a strong Canadian team, a good German or Turkish team, and all of a sudden you got 5-6 national teams plus.
Yeah, I think you have to ask yourself that question.
Now
so
we're talking
I
about
start the other way, but I did notice you started with a strong Mexican team.
If we can get all those people in the same room.
Just reason I asked this is no, but they used to be amazing, and yeah, but they can be, right? They have the capacity, and they should be. So
they're not that
it's a
strong
warrior
anymore.
Culture. It's perhaps one of the best warrior cultures, right? So here's the question for you.
They're struggling.
So if you think about the Olympic ideal,
it should be,
and you think about what the purpose of going to an Olympic Games is, and we reconciled this when we were building the television show. It wasn't about who won. It was about how high you raise the bar. When I go to the Olympics, I don't care who clears the high jump the highest. I want to see if they can raise it an inch. I don't care who runs the mile the fastest. I want to see if they can shave tenths of a second off of it. So for me, if I'm being pure as an Olympian, as a guy who used to serve on the board and stuff, how high can we raise the athletic level and test the limits of human endurance, strength, and conditioning, and what are we capable of? Now, if that's a Kazakhstan person, a Mexican, a Puerto Rican, an American, whatever nationality you throw in there, I almost don't care. I have some pride in my nationality and my country, but at the end of the day, I want to see the best athletic performance. So I think that the Olympic Committee, if you were to ask them, they're like, we want to raise the level of the games so that the individual performance is the best it's ever been. I don't think you want to go to an Olympic Games where they don't set Olympic records or world records. I think you want to see that number continue to be better. So then when a country goes, they're under a lot of pressure economically, because most countries have a ministry of sport that's funded by the government, not ours. We're sponsored by sponsors. So we have a different pressure. We have to make sponsors happy. Sponsors like gold medals, because gold medals make money. And as a country, the mission in the United States is inspire Americans through our performance on the gold medal platform. That's it. That's what the mission statement is of the Olympic movement now. It used to be, sport for all. No, we want to inspire Americans through our performance, and that means gold medals. Now, if you can deliver, we give you money. If you can't deliver, we don't give you money. Why USA Taekwondo gets money? Still a mystery to me. Now, as a coach, though, Your job, our job as coaches, as purveyors of the torch, is performance. We want our athletes to have the best performance, and that should manifest itself in a medal. But we have to be performance first, results second. We can't be focused on results, because then we do things like, okay, let's figure out which tournament should I go to get my guy to be able to go to the Olympics. So we had a situation a few years back with a particular athlete made it to the Olympic Games. Surprise to me, they point gamed it and got to the Olympic Games. Went to the Olympics, didn't win. No surprise. And then we have a training center in the middle of nowhere. Athletes training. Went to the Olympic Games. Yeah, something was wrong. They didn't win any medals. In a country with the resources of our size, the country of our size, the amount of athletes of our size, the quality of athletes we have, no medals. How's that possible? So we balance these different needs. And then it goes back to the fundamental question. We can just be happy to participate. There are countries that have never won a medal. And if that's where we're at, great. Let's just do that. And it is what it is. But I think it's more than that. I think it's performance for coaches. I think for athletes, it's medals, because that's a sign of the work you put in. And then for the movement, it's just the best performance. And then it begs the question, is Taekwondo in its current form representative of an Olympic sport that continues to evolve and get better? And you know how I feel about that. I think that's not the case. And I think it is the case with basketball.
Well, let, let, let me jump in for a second. Going back to what you said, kind of pushing the bar and making it beautiful, making the sport
Wish they
beautiful.
had.
I think obviously that would be great in utopia, but like you said at the beginning, winning is
Wish they had.
the ultimate trump card. No pun, no pun intended, right? It's when you win, you can talk. When you win, you can answer questions. You know what I'm saying? Like when you win, you people. Yeah, I got a hat. When you win, you could say a lot of things. So I think that ultimately, I think you got to win. If you could do it in a aesthetically pleasing style, I think that would be even better. But the truth of the matter is, you know, people get to the Olympic Games for all different reasons. The WT does not want what you said, aesthetically pleasing. And I'll tell you why. They wouldn't have wild cards, right? You wouldn't have countries that, have never, won a medal at the World Championships, yet somehow get a wild card into the Olympic Games. And, they're, and I love them. I love them for trying, but they look like fish out of water. They have no idea of what they're doing in the ring, and they get demolished by the number one person in 30 seconds. It's almost comical and embarrassing. So the WT, they should never have that. It should only be the top of the top. That's what the Olympics represents. It's the best of the best. And you could say the same thing for coaches. There's been, many times where people in this country have lobbied and politicked and did this and did that, and all of a sudden they show up, they get on a coaching staff. And the next year, you never see them again. Like, what purpose did that serve the betterment of the country, the development of the country, the betterment of that athlete? And you could say for whatever reason, they left. They left to change professions. They left because they were tired. They were left because they're burnt out. But most of them still have martial arts schools. And you don't
That's
see none of
more.
those guys.
That's more for the coaches, though. That's more for the coaches' ego, though. I remember when, I know you mentioned Paige a little while ago and having to do point chasing and stuff like that with her. As much of a privilege as that was to be at that stage playing with that level, the anxiety and like the build up to all that stuff and having to be in those pressure moments was also a big deal. And I don't think these coaches, I don't think some of them look at it that way. I think it's an opportunity for them to go be like, look, I'm at the Olympic Games, not I'm here to support what you guys just said about the movement of this athlete going to win a gold medal. Because if you're looking at it that way, then even again, we don't got to touch on exactly, but if you're putting people in situations that is not going to put them in the best position, then as coaches, we're doing the wrong thing. When I was past, when you talked to me about coaching Paige and we were able to work all that stuff out, that was a big deal for me because you trusted what I knew, how much I knew her, what I was able to give to her in those moments to go help her try to be successful. And like, I don't think that's the goal anymore. I think it's the I'm at the Olympic Games. I have a shirt. I got a jacket. I got on the plane. You know, it's not necessarily doesn't feel like it's 100% about the athletes in those situations. And that's why we pick and choose our coaching staff. We pick and choose our coaching staff around who we wanted to be on the staff, not necessarily who's supposed to be there, who should be there. It's who could benefit the team the most. It's just based off of who they want in the moment to go and be there.
Well, I just saw this organization just put out a coaching application. And I don't know if that's for, I didn't really dive into it. I did look at like the criteria, but I don't know what that's for. Is it for the world championship? Is it for the junior team, the cadet team?
There was a lot of stuff on there. It was all of the above. It was para, junior, cadet, national team, regional coach.
History repeats itself, and it was a basic application. In our sport,
we went in and put through.
So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see if are we doing the right thing for the athletes and the team.
Are you kidding me?
Or
if I were going to apply, what I would apply for,
and
I would do the job for about 2 years.
That'd be interesting.
And then
I'll keep you updated.
2 things or 3 things when I did the job. And then I get ceremoniously fired or run out of town on the rails, right?
Apply.
Because I would go in and fix stuff.
Coach.
If I were
Grandmaster disaster,
did
you apply?
The sole fact
I did put an application.
Fire pretty much everybody, and it would make my day to fire and replace the current CEO, and then I would come in and fix the sport, and we'd have medals at the next Olympic Games, and at the end of the Olympic Games, they would put up a noose and hang me. Because along the way, I would get rid of all the 3rd, 4th, 5th tier people that shouldn't be in the room. The politicking of choosing coaching would go away. I'd pick meritocracy coaches that have proven records and can deliver athletes and deliver results. And I treat it like a professional team. I'd fund them. The next thing I do is move the training center out of Kansas or Kentucky or Alabama or whatever backwater country it's in. And I'd move it back where it should be in a central hub. And I'd get it funded by a city. Wherever it is. I'm sorry. God bless you. So hence the shirt and the tattoo. But I would move it out of there and get it to a place where people could actually, where people could get to it easily, get to it easily. It would be a central hub where planes could come and leave freely, and like Chicago, New York, and LA, whatever it is. And then, places where they actually have planes that land and not have to take puddle hoppers.
It's okay.
And then I'd get the athletes to be held to a standard. They'd have to sign
a code of conduct. It was 65 degrees today. I had to pull them out to let them know.
80 here, boy.
Now, that's the way it used to be. And when it was like that, you got results. So right now, go ahead. Well, are you hiring me? Are you hiring me? All right, there we go.
So let me break in here. No, for real. Let me break in on this one because first I want to go back because we've gone through so many different things. First of all, of course, I wish, but no, I'm hiring you. No, listen. We've started out with identification camps. We started out with regional directors. We've had regional camps. We've had regional coaches. We have state coaches. We have everything. And then we have nothing. And now we're going back to it. It's so muddy that you really don't know what's going on. And it's interesting because they always talk about doing the best for the athletes. And all of a sudden, sometimes they use meritocracy. They say you're not ready because you have. I think they said this to you, TJ.
But
you're not ready because
I'll let you continue.
Okay,
but I'll ask you both a question.
They have someone that's never been anywhere at the World Championship.
And as organization
I had already coached that Grand Prix. I think me and Paige caught a Grand Prix gold medal in Taiwan before that.
In an organization, who does chaos favor?
That organization told my organization at the time that I wasn't ready to coach at the Pan Am Games level.
It favors
after I was already there to qualify.
Staff gets to do what it wants to do
Games.
because the volunteers don't understand what to do or how to do it. So staff does whatever it wants, and it's an oligarchy. They create what they want to create, and you just sit by and go, "What? Huh?" And before you know it, and that's why they're doing it. You got 2nd and 3rd tier people running your organization, and they love chaos. Why? Because then you don't know what's going on, and you can't fix it.
Staff. Yeah. So 2 points. Early on in this whole progress, they came out with state level coaches. I applied for a state level coach and I didn't get it. A couple other people in the state. I'm like, okay, I'm just trying to do what you guys asked me to do. You know what? Go from the bottom, but I wasn't qualified. I don't know what it was, but I wasn't invited to do it. So fast forward to right now, speaking to somebody, I was told that there will probably have about 3 coaches, and maybe it's not for sure yet, but just the fact that was said, maybe a developmental coach to the World Championships. I'm like, I'm all for building coaches. I'm all for experience, but not at the World Championship level, not at a Grand Prix level. There's cadet, there's junior, there's camps. You don't take a spot away from the 16 national team athletes to place even a developmental level. You bring a top level athlete, and if that or top level coach, and if that coach has to hold targets and sit in the stands and scout or go whatever they got to do, but you still surround that team with the best 3, 4, 5, whatever coaches. I mean, I think at the World Championship you could have a head coach and 2 trainers that can actually coach. So you could literally have 6 coaches per side, 3 and 3. They could do that, and if that serves through meritocracy,
not really.
like
No,
said,
you got electricians, right?
do it.
And
I've seen them do it
electricians
on
have
a cadet
master
level.
electricians.
Coach Damian
Then
Villa
they
had a
have
bunch of kids on a
apprentices.
team, or
You know what they don't give the
and they brought him there.
apprentices?
Smart.
Screwdrivers.
They should. He's got
Right?
kids on the team.
They're building your
Let-
house.
Let him
The master
work with
electrician,
them
they
and
let
some
the
other
guy
people.
run the
And then
conduit. They
same
let
thing,
the
build
guy
the
do
staff.
this. They don't let the
But
guy put the circuit breakers in.
I don't
He's
know.
not ready
I
yet.
mean, I know we're kind
He's
of
got to
getting
be
off
trained
track here and
and
stuff like that,
participate.
but with
You
this
don't
coaching
put
thing that you
the World
mentioned,
Championships
TJ,
is not where you build an apprentice coach. What you do with an apprentice coach at the World Championships, you bring him to the training sessions. He holds targets. He carries bags. He gets lunch. He goes to massages. He does whatever he has to do to support the athlete, and watch how a master does his craft. That's how you become a master of anything. And that comes from the Middle Ages. Yeah.
so let me ask you this. Let me what about this subjective, something that's very subjective? I say, Herb, TJ,
You
in order to coach, you have to show me, or you have to tell me that
go ahead.
you're investing in yourself for your furthering your education within the sport. And now, what does that mean? Does it mean coming to my
But then you got to
class,
outline that
my
it's not
program,
objective.
or
You
what if
got
you
to make
said,
it less
yeah,
subjective. You
I
got to make you
study
got to
every
say if
day,
you want to
I
create a
follow
coaching
this
program,
person,
which
I
we did
read
back in the day.
sports
You
science
say
books.
here are
You know
the
what I'm saying? Like, what
here
does that?
here are
What
the levels you
constitutes
have to know, and this is what you
furthering
need to
your
know.
education?
And as
Because
you
that
know
was part
more,
of that
and
was
we'll give you more opportunities. Go ahead.
No, the reason I bring that up because that was part of the qualifications to be a national team coach. You have to
And the
commit to
CAP
furthering
program
your
stuff, something like that.
it.
Um,
Hold on, I'm real fast. DJ, did you say what did you? They have
it's
what you
that
have to do.
Yeah, it's what is it called? The CAP program, coaching something, acceleration program, something like that. So they said they'll weigh that into the options of whether they select you. Now, if you've been to one of those things, I don't know. Like I was
Okay.
telling you, I've been to a Paul Green super camp though, where we sat in a room for 2 days. It's about $500 a pop when I was with WCAP, and we went over coaching and all that stuff like that. And I think that was supposed to qualify us for our level 3 in the United States. My badge still says level 2. I'm still waiting for this upgrade to level 3. That was a 2-day long thing, so I don't know if they include that in all that stuff. But it's again, like you just said, if you're playing ball, if you're gonna be there and then do this
Well,
and do that.
listen. It's not if I mean if it's a real course, like not just shadowing people or coming out and kind of seeing what we do. If it's a written course, a technical course, or something like that, that you can make an argument for that. But what if my program, what if your program, what if someone's program is flourishing and you're putting people in the national team? Matter of fact, you might beat people head to head. So, but I still have to go. I mean, I understand there's a minimum. There's safe sport, there's level 1, there's level 2. But when they start throwing those other things in there, like, I don't know, what if you can't make it out there? What if you can't afford to go out there? What if you haven't been invited to go out there? I don't know. All of a sudden, that's a prerequisite, and I don't know if that it is, or it's just going to be in consideration. But I just think they throw stuff in there like that to muddy it up. And you're right, Herb. That's a good word, chaos. And I don't know if it's purposeful or not, but it seems like it's built to, And listen. I'll say it. TJ, I'm a champion of you. I know you've done a lot in this sport, and you continue to do a lot in this sport. And for you to not be part of that staff, if it's because of me, it's because of Peak. And I know you've heard this thing before. Don't be with Juan. Don't be with Peak. Cut it off. Like, it just to think that someone of your caliber that coaches 2 people on the national team, probably 3 people, to be honest with you, like that they wouldn't even consider you. And you have such a good reputation with so many of these kids, some of these people. I just think you'd be a natural fit for them. You'd be an asset. I think they would love you and enjoy you and be good. So I hope you get in there. I really, really do. So, that's my 2 cents.
I appreciate you. Yeah, it's again, like you just said it right there. It's I've been told that too many times. We've talked about that personally, about those things, because of this, who I stand next to, who I'm friends with, who supported me through my whole Olympic journey. That's what people don't. You got to stop and remember. Like, there's something bigger than this Taekwondo shit. Like, family is family, and people that have been there in the tough times and all the way through when I didn't know what direction to go as far as the sport. I didn't know how to talk in front of people. I didn't know what to expect at the Olympic Games. You were there to help me through all that stuff as a coach,
legacy,
as me as an athlete, you as a mentor, and all that stuff's way more important to me than any of this other stuff that go back and forth. So call me again. If that's the case, like I told someone before, I'm gonna denounce. I am no part of longer Peak.
A great program
trains to the core, because that's the
next
people that will come by me from day one and got
when
me
you
to
don't
the
do
game
that,
gave me
then you're bound for failure. If you look at, I'm looking at these college
I guess I'll stay where I am.
for another
You know what I
sport.
mean? It is what it is.
And what I always see is
an
assistant training under the master. That guy's been there for 16 years or so. And one of these guys is coaching my son, and I see he's going to ascend to the head coach position, hopefully. They always open the door, right? You want to get the best person. So in what Coach Moreno said, you might leave the door open for a guy who became in. He's a performer. All of a sudden, he's performing. He's created something new. He's created a dynamic, and you say, we got to recognize this guy, and you pull him into the mix. So you have to create succession and legacy planning where you get great coaches in the room. And if you do random coaching, then you get random results. And this is what's happening with, certainly happening with Taekwondo in this country in that sense, except for the private programs, because by nature, those coaches are there forever. They own the program. But in the national program, it's chaos. And there's a reason why it's chaos, because when you throw crumbs to the masses, you keep the masses happy. So every little swish swash of a coach that would have never even seen the light of day based on performance is hoping the crumb will drop. Will they drop a crumb my way? Will I get to be an assistant and go to the World Championships and I can put on my Dojang World? I am an assistant coach. Well, welcome to the Kukiwan dream, right? The Kukiwan, one day this will all be yours. What day? When does that come? Well, guess what? In Taekwondo, they're playing the same game. Why? Because they were trained by the same people. The guy running it, our good friend of ours, he's the master of that political disaster. He was trained by one of the best in the business to be a charlatan. And so, oh, wait, you'll get your chance. Don't worry. We got a crumb for you. By the way, it'll be one crumb. You'll get it. And then bye. So the legacy of coaching here doesn't exist, nor does the succession planning. Now, how do you ignore? I laugh when they don't make you a state coach. They could have said, you're not a state coach because you're too big for that. You shouldn't be that. Or they could say, dude, we got this amazing talent here in Florida that could be helping us build a tremendous amount of athletes. We got a tremendous amount of athletes. Let's get this guy in the building, right? In my situation with the Kukiwan, I chuckle, right? 9th degree black belt, Olympic gold medalist, Pan Am gold medalist, World Cup gold medalist, all this stuff. Kukiwan, they choose Kim Lee Park across the board in the United States. By the way, not a Kim Lee Park that you know. Talk about nepotism, racism, ethnocentricity. Welcome to the Kukiwan. I didn't say anything. I go, okay. It's hard. Okay, no problem. You guys aren't ready to be better, and that's okay too. And in your situation, I'm sure that's what you guys said. Well, but isn't it sad for the athletes? Isn't it sad for the coaches development. I would love to be trained by a Moreno or a TJ if I were a coach coming up and learn. First thing I do when I meet a great coach, I talk to him. I went to this program back east and I looked at the coach and he said something. So I went up to him afterwards. I said, that was amazing what you said. He was talking about the 4 pillars of the sport. And he was talking, but he said this thing about mental training that was amazing. So I talked to him. I was like, man, that is, can you tell me a little bit more how you came to this idea and what do you look for in an athlete and what you find are the commonalities? Now you got to be willing to grow and learn. Now, if you're not willing to grow and learn, then you'd be willing to die on the vine. And so what we, and listen, let's be clear. Like I always say, performance, results. Okay. Did they perform? No. Did they have results? No. Have they had results in performance? No. So systematic performance and results like Korea, like Iran, like Kazakhstan, like China, like whatever you want to say. There are countries that historically perform and they base it upon historical performance and a development of coaches and athletes and a pipeline. Yeah. There is no pipeline in the United States. There is no coaching pipeline. There's no athletic pipeline. And if anything, it's become more silo mentality and more secluded and exclusionary rather than inclusive. The inclusiveness has been of second, third, and fourth tiers.
That's what I'm saying. Listen, listen. Again, I know sometimes we get going in circles, but the truth of the matter is, I mean, this country is a great country. Again, I work for another country. You guys know that. I work for Brazil, but this country is a great country with great athletes and some great coaches. And it is just a shame that we're struggling like we're struggling. And it's what's interesting is on a cadet and junior level, we do pretty decent, especially on the region, on the North America and the Pet 2 level, we do great. And I got to watch some of these kids, a couple of weeks ago, and I think some of these guys are going to do pretty good at the cadet level. How can we keep them to
well, I think this is we keep talking about this topic, right? And so I
leadership
think,
is it
one of the things we should
is
do,
it motivation,
right,
is it
at
hope?
our next podcast
I don't know what
I think
it
we
is,
should tackle one of these things, and I'll leave it to you guys
this coaching thing
to think about what that
kind of just reading between the lines.
I'm not a guy to throw.
It doesn't seem
I'm
like
not a guy, although it may sound like it, that throws
coaches to be able to keep their
and doesn't
athletes
know how to
in the
build a
pipeline
building
long enough.
So if I'm going to tell you and point out a problem to you, I'm also going to have a potential solution.
Like I said, I always hope I'm wrong, but
because I think it's disingenuous of people that
all
they do is complain. They're rock throwers, not building builders. So I want to build a building. So I tasked the two of you and myself. I want you to think about the problem, whether it's relative to coaching, athlete development, facilities, whatever it is, planning for competitive success in the next coming quad coming into LA. Let's address that as a problem. You guys draft the problem. And then I want us to have potential solutions. I want you to think about it. We'll discuss those solutions. We'll talk about the problems. I mean, I enjoy poking. The weasel. I won't call them the bear because they're about weasel size. I enjoy poking the weasel of the organization, but it would be disingenuous to just continue to poke the weasel and not have a better solution. So I have ideas on solutions, but I think that's going to be a fun conversation. It's easy to point out the faults with the current programs and situation and coaching and yada, yada, yada. But do you have a solution? So maybe that's something we could talk about. Maybe that's our next thing that would be interesting. And then maybe that gives people something. And I encourage the viewers or the listeners to send us thoughts on that and everything, except with the exception of me. So you can complain about Juan, you can complain about TJ, but me, don't complain about. You can though, but just send it to Juan and TJ. My email is Juan. Go ahead. Let's do that. Yeah. No, it wouldn't be hard. No. Yeah. Who do you want to bring? Give me somebody.
Hey,
Okay.
somehow, some
All
way,
right, we'll see. Let's do that. Well,
somehow, some way, I want to do like
I think that would be
there's a couple
great.
of interesting people.
TJ,
I think
anything
we could do
else?
some as guests, and we'd have to kind of have a couple lines of questions and let them talk. Obviously, it's and engage in a conversation with them, but and it would be kind of hard having four
Yeah.
people because there could be some interesting people that we could. All right, something. I'll hold it because I have a couple like surprise people. Surprise people. I have a couple international people too, so it'd be fun. But
Yeah.
anyway,
No, I like
I
as
don't. I
far
don't
as
think it's either.
I
I don't
agree
think
with
it's
you. I
either
think it's
you
always
two.
good to
I
offer our
think you
opinions,
guys are
but
judicious. I
and
think
I know
it's
you said
me.
it in terms of
I'm always
throwing
complaining and
bricks
stuff.
and
But
not being able to build
before
a
we go
house.
on to Juan, I want to say
I
one
hope
last thing.
maybe I do
In the
come off like
meanwhile,
that,
while
and
we've been
maybe
on the
I'm throwing bricks. But
phone
like
and
you
for the
said from
last
the
50
beginning,
minutes or
like
so, I
nothing I've
created
said
a
here, nothing you guys said
GoFundMe
here is false.
T-shirt
Like we're just talking. It's purely fact. Like and that's
fundraiser
that's the
because I'm
problem
going to try to
when
buy
certain people
TJ a shirt
spit
with
facts.
sleeves. So
It's always
it's a
you're hating or
GoFundMe
you just
on
don't like
GoFundMe,
them or like
and it's going to be to
you're
get him
trying
a
to be
T-shirt
distant. And like the
and some
reality is
tattoo
no. It's just that
removals.
I've given my
So,
life to this sport.
actually,
I've
we're
been
going
in
to
this
need to
sport
make
long
that a
enough.
little larger target.
no.
All right,
Nah.
Coach.
Extra large shirt for the arm part.
No, that and listen real fast. I mean, TJ is going to piggyback off you because you're right. Look at what you said. TJ is correct. Just because we say stuff doesn't mean we're trying to be haters or whatever. We're just number one, we're saying our opinion. If we're wrong, tell us we're wrong or show us that we're wrong. And number two, we're not being a hater. We're just calling the facts. We're calling it. I mean, I would love to sit down and talk with anybody and just go, back for back. But Herb, I'm going to go against both of you guys on this one because it's one thing. It is our job to point some things out and maybe some negative things out. But if they don't want our help, why should we throw out answers? Why should I build a house for them? They've never asked. They've never even said, you know what? Can we have a coffee? Can we have an informal conversation? And again, maybe with me, I'm too far down the road. But how about you, TJ? There's other coaches. They don't want to hear nothing from anybody. That's the truth. They got their couple people, and that's it. Going back to the World Championships, we talked about this last time. How is there not a schedule? How is there not a detailed schedule for the World Championship team? And don't tell me we're going to have a camp.
But why do?
Because you don't tell me the dates. You don't tell me the length. You don't tell me anything.
Do you want me to send an invite to those individuals? I can send an invite to come on.
You know there's a national team in April. How is there not a detailed schedule? And if there is, my athlete didn't get it yet. And if there isn't, why not? That's your one job. One job.
Concerned about the people winning that are in the room with them. Everyone else is irrelevant. If you're not in the room, they don't care whether you win or lose. And I'm just being honest with you.
So are we a national team or are we not a national team? Are we not developing everybody? Or are we just saying, come with us? If not, why not reaching out to TJ? No. Like again, I'm gonna call out Coach Brown and Coach Mr. Nelson because they talk to my athlete who you coach, TJ, all the time. You're the chair guy. We talk about this. They never once came to me and said, Juan, what is he doing? Juan, what can we help? Juan, would you no. They talked to him at breakfast and said, you should come with us because we're gonna coach you. Like, what is that? That's just and that's not hating. That's fact. Like you said, TJ. So you don't like it, But why you're not showing that you don't want to
favors
you know what? You don't want to talk to Juan because I work with Brazil.
The master
Fine.
of disaster
Talk to TJ.
and my cohorts.
Talk to TJ. TJ is the one that coaches them, directs them, guides them, all that stuff.
And we definitely have chaos.
Why not?
And no results.
Because they'd rather go straight to the athlete.
No results.
The athlete
in the words
put
of a
in a
great
bad situation
mind,
to make a decision
you
on their
want
own without any
exactly
actual
what
input
you
and
have,
guidance,
continue
and that's
to
what
do
they
the
want.
same thing. That's
then that way they win, and then whoever you're not there, they lose.
So if you expect change and you continue to do the same thing, then that's the definition of insanity. So I'll leave that with all of them, and they're always welcome to come. I get phone calls from a former Olympic coach of mine all the time asking me for something. I can what do I get from USA Taekwondo? I got my lifetime membership, and then I get requests to continue to attend coaching seminars, which I wrote and designed. But I could point that out to them. But I wish them the best, and I welcome them here to come here. I would love to have them on and have these conversations and let them sharpen their sword against the metal of MEDDLE of the podcast, the Warehouse 15, because as you know, we keep it real, and some people get a little burnt by that. I won't mention which part of the culo burning, but that's up to them. We're just going to continue to keep it what it is, so keeping it real.
Welcome to Warehouse 15, where gold medals hang beside hard troops with a roar, the crowd fades and the real stories begin. Join Perez, Moreno, and Jennings, three legends who aren't afraid to push past the finish line. A polite conversation, get ready. Feelings will get hurt, but the truth will be told.